So chapter 10.05, exploding model objects. What we're going to do is create the stairs from the SketchUp model, but we are not going to link it like we've done with this bit. We're just going to take the geometry and we're going to explode it from the drawing. So it's no longer part of the link, or it's not even embedded in the hard drive. It's just a series of lines that live inside of the layout sheet. So we're going to use this bit. This is part of our linked model. So I'm going to copy this. So Control to copy, or the Alt key on the Mac. And then I will copy another version of it there. Now this one and this one are both vector at the moment. So we go down to our SketchUp model and we see vector for that one and vector for that one. If I turn this one into a raster image, this then puts the background back in. And if I was to right click and explode, so now this is no longer part of the SketchUp model. This is just a 2D image on my sheet. So right click, all I can do now is open with Photoshop. I can't relink this back. I have to step this back by Control Z to turn this back into the linked view. So I'm going to delete that one. So we don't want a 2D image. We want the lines. So with the vector, so this is vector, if I was to right click on this one and explode this, again it separates it from the link, but it doesn't turn it into an image. It turns it into a series of lines that we can actually use. Now it groups everything to start off with. So right click and ungroup. It has its own sort of way of grouping objects. I know that the profile edges will form one group. Apart from that, I'm not really sure what else, but you notice that this is now taken out of that. So you have to keep selecting and keep on grouping, clicking away until you get down to the sort of core geometry. And because this is the sort of pointy bit at the very top, then we've got lots and lots of small lines as well. So be very careful about the types of lines that you create. But what you can do with these lines is now they are all controllable by you. So under shape style, if you want to put a global sort of thickness of 1 on everything, then you can do that. If you want to select an individual line and turn it into a much thinner line, then you get this control. Okay, so that's quite useful, especially for sort of adding some element hierarchy. So we don't want this bit, so I'm just going to hit delete. We want the stairs, so I'll copy this again quickly, and then with these shape handles, just expand it out a bit, find the stairs, they're up there, and then come in and drop that down there, and zoom in on this, bring this down to here, and then make sure it's vector before you do anything else. So this is right click and explode, and then select and start ungrouping so you get down to the bits of geometry you want. And this looks like it's the wall, so I can delete that. This is obviously part of something else, so I need to either double click and then select the line and delete. And I've got the bit left that I want. And I can take this bit, then just lines into this part of the drawing. So really useful sort of technique, this, and that should snap into there. Now for the ground floor, we want to chop this off at this sort of point. So again, select, Control and Shift to constrain. So that positions that in the right position. And then we can double click. Now what we can't do is draw inside of this. We can't edit inside the group, which is a bit frustrating. It's one of those things that it would be nice if you could do that. We have to ungroup all of this before we can draw in it. And I'll just draw a line from there to there. Then I can select all the bits that I don't need for there, and come in and select those bits, and then trim this off. Drag these into position. Select those, delete that. Be careful the way you select objects. When I finish this, then I can just regroup it. And I've now got my stair. So select all that, right click and group. And if I wanted to go in and start changing the line thickness, maybe the outside edge wants to be slightly thicker, then double click to edit, select maybe these lines, and then I can go in to my shape style and change that from 0.1 maybe to 0.4 or whatever. And you can mess around with this until you're very happy with the way that it looks. You can delete any of the other lines that you don't want if you think it looks a little bit busy still, but I'll leave that again down to yourselves. But that's the process of creating sort of lines out of the SketchUp model or an image out of the SketchUp model using the explode function. In the penultimate chapter, we'll look at all things annotation, that's text, dimensions, and anything else that we can think of. And I'll also explain this points size with the relation to the text height and line thickness.